Your desire to heal them might feel like unconditional love, but psychologically, it is often a covert attempt to control them. Take a breath. Let that statement land in the quiet space of your mind. You are exhausted. I know you are. You are an empathetic, highly intelligent, high-achieving individual. In every other area of your life, you are capable. You are sovereign. You are strong. Yet, here you are, drained, depleted, pouring your precious life force into a partner who cannot, or will not, meet you in the depths. You look at them, and you do not just see a flawed human being. You see their soul. You see the wounded child hiding behind their armor. You see the massive, untapped potential they possess. And so, you wait. You become the ultimate holder of space. You read the books. You listen to the podcasts. You study the metaphysics. You do the heavy, grueling shadow work for both of you. You soften your voice. You walk on eggshells. You sacrifice your own peace, believing that if you just love them hard enough, if you just understand them deeply enough, they will finally heal. But look closely at your hands. They are bruised from pulling a heavy rope that the other person has already dropped. You call this devotion. You call this sacred love. You call it spiritual endurance. But what if it is something else entirely? What if this endless waiting, this constant fixing, is actually a trap? Welcome to the Savior Trap. Today we are going to look at a harsh but beautifully liberating truth. We are going to explore why you sacrifice your own sovereign energy to heal a broken partner. And we are going to gently dismantle the illusion that keeping someone else afloat is your spiritual duty. You do not need false hope right now. You do not need another strategy to make them awaken. You need clarity. You need validation. You need to come home to yourself. Let us look at the hidden mechanics of this dynamic. To truly understand why you are trapped, we must examine your relationship through the dual lenses of clinical psychology and spiritual metaphysics. When you step into a connection as the anxious heart, your nervous system is biologically wired for deep attachment. You crave safety. You crave depth. You crave a sanctuary where your soul can rest. But when you partner with the avoidant soul, everything changes. This is someone who is dysregulated, emotionally unavailable, or profoundly unawakened. When they pull away, your nervous system does not just register disappointment, it detects a primal threat. Their inconsistency feels dangerous to your very survival. Their sudden withdrawal triggers your deepest and oldest wounds. You feel the cold wind of abandonment rushing in. So what do you do when faced with this emotional danger? You try to fix the source of the threat. You try to heal them. The subconscious logic running in the background of your mind is incredibly simple. You tell yourself that if you can just heal their pain, they will finally become stable. If they become stable, they will stay. And if they stay, you will finally feel safe. Do you see the hidden mechanism at play here? Your relentless healing efforts are not entirely selfless. They are a highly sophisticated survival strategy. You are trying to engineer your own safety by repairing another human being. You are attempting to control the environment by controlling their healing process. This dynamic gives birth to the healer identity. It is a very seductive mask to wear. Stepping into the role of the healer feels noble. It feels righteous. It subtly feeds the ego. When you are the healer, you are the one who knows better. You are the conscious one in the dynamic. You are the one doing the heavy spiritual lifting. You read the psychology books and map out their childhood trauma. But from a Jungian psychological standpoint, focusing obsessively on your partner's brokenness serves a darker purpose. It is a brilliant subconscious distraction. It acts as a heavy shield. As long as you are entirely consumed by their flaws, their trauma, and their inability to show up, you are safe from yourself. You do not have to look into your own abyss. You do not have to face your own deep-seated fears of intimacy. You do not have to confront your own feelings of inadequacy. As long as they are the broken project, you get to be the savior. But the terrifying question remains quietly waiting in the dark. Why do you believe you must earn love through suffering? Why do you believe your natural state of being is not enough to be cherished? You use their unhealed trauma to avoid healing your own core belief that love requires backbreaking labor. You are hiding behind their brokenness. We must also examine this through the universal law of mirroring. The unawakened counterpart is not just a heavy burden you have been assigned to carry. They are a profound and devastating mirror reflecting your own inner landscape. You look at them and you think they have no boundaries. You think they do not value themselves. You watch them sabotage their own peace. But look closely at the reflection. Where are your boundaries? How much of yourself are you abandoning just to stay in this dynamic? You judge their lack of self-worth while systematically destroying your own self-worth to save them. Beyond psychology, there is a metaphysical reality to this exhaustion. Through the spiritual mechanics of quantum entanglement, your energetic fields have become deeply interwoven. You share a psychic space with this person, but instead of a balanced and reciprocal exchange of light, a parasitic dynamic has formed. You have become the battery. They are the device. You are constantly transmitting your vital life force. You are trying to jumpstart a heart that does not want to beat on its own. You are pouring golden energy into a vessel full of cracks. This is why you feel so incredibly drained. You are literally bleeding your sovereign energy into a bottomless void. You are entangled in heavy, complicated threads of karma that do not belong to you. You are trying to pay a metaphysical debt that is not yours to settle. Your exhaustion is not a sign that you are failing at spiritual love. Your exhaustion is your body and soul begging you to stop financing someone else's evolution with your own life force. Now we must entirely flip the script. We must move away from the psychology of the wounded ego. We must step into the high-altitude air of spiritual truth. This is where we confront a deeply uncomfortable concept. We must talk about spiritual narcissism. The word narcissism sounds incredibly harsh. I do not mean it as a term of malice. I mean it as a subtle and insidious ego trap. It is a trap beautifully disguised as light and devotion. Spiritual narcissism is the quiet and arrogant belief that you know what is best for another soul. It is the underlying assumption that their current state of being is wrong. It is the belief that your vision for their life is right. You believe your love is so powerful it can bypass their karma. You think your awareness can compensate for their blindness, but you cannot do the soul work for another human being. You simply cannot. Every single soul comes to this earth with its own specific curriculum. They arrive with their own timing. They require their own necessary pain. When you constantly intervene in their life, you disrupt their curriculum. When you constantly try to regulate their nervous system for them, you're actually stealing their spiritual lessons. You're actively robbing them of the exact friction they need to grow. Imagine a gardener tending to a patch of earth. The gardener sees a seed struggling to push its way through the hard and rocky soil. Out of deep pity, the gardener digs up the seed. The gardener peels the seed open to help it bloom faster. What happens to the seed? The seed dies. You cannot pull a flower open with your bare hands. You will only destroy the delicate petals. Your desperate desire to save them is crippling their natural evolution, and it is entirely destroying your own peace. To intervene in their karma is a massive overstep of spiritual boundaries. You must learn the vital difference between two very different states of being. You must know the difference between holding space for a sacred union and abandoning your own soul. Right now, you are abandoning your sovereign energetics. Sovereign energetics is the profound state of sitting firmly on the throne of your own life. It is the deep and unwavering knowing that you are already whole. You do not need to fix anyone to justify your existence. Sovereign energetics is an energy that is heavily anchored. Think of a massive stone resting quietly at the absolute bottom of the ocean. The surface waves of your partner's shifting moods might crash and roll above. The violent storms of their avoidant behavior might rage across the water. But down at the absolute bottom of the ocean, you remain perfectly still. You are unmoved. You are completely untouched by the chaos happening on the surface. You observe the storm without becoming the storm. But right now, you are not the anchor. You are a fragile leaf caught inside their hurricane. You have willingly left your own magnificent throne empty. You have abandoned your kingdom to go and sweep the dusty floors of their ruined castle. You are living in their energetic debris instead of your own light. This is why you are suffering so deeply. Every ounce of life force you pour into their unreadiness is an ounce of magic stolen from your own destiny. You are a magnificent creator. You are meant to build worlds with your energy. You are not meant to merely repair broken people. When you strip away the romanticized narrative of being the ultimate healer, you are left with a stark reality. You are using your brilliant light to illuminate a room they refuse to step into. You must close that door. You must take your light back. This pain you are feeling right now is not meaningless. This utter and bone-deep exhaustion is not a punishment for failing to love them enough. It is a powerful catalyst. The universe is intentionally making this dynamic incredibly painful. The friction is becoming entirely unbearable, so that you will have absolutely no choice but to let go. You are being squeezed out of their energetic field. You are being pushed violently out of the savior trap. The universe does not want you to fix the avoidant soul. The universe wants you to finally catch yourself. This agony is your necessary expansion. It is the forceful breaking of your codependent illusions. When you finally drop the heavy burden of their potential, you will feel a massive rush of energy return to your body. You are not giving up on them. You are finally choosing to resurrect yourself. You are stepping out of the illusion of control and walking back into your own sovereign power. How do we actually do this? How do we untangle these heavy, invisible threads? You do not need to change the other person. You need to entirely change your internal posture. This requires deliberate and conscious action. We must move from theory into profound practice. There are 3 specific mental shifts you must make today. These shifts will pull you out of the savior trap. They will return you to your sovereign center. The first shift requires you to completely relinquish the savior role. You must shift from actively fixing to quietly witnessing. Starting today, you officially resign as their personal therapist. You resign as their spiritual guide. You must drop the heavy emotional toolkit you have been carrying for months or perhaps years. When the avoidant soul pulls away, shuts down, or acts out, your biological instinct is to lean in. You want to soothe their nervous system. You want to interrogate their silence. You want to fix the sudden coldness in the room. You must stop. Instead of intervening, you must become the quiet and detached observer. You must practice the high spiritual art of radical neutrality. Imagine you are sitting safely on a covered porch. You are watching a dark and violent storm roll into the yard. You do not run out into the pouring rain. You do not try to stop the wind with your bare hands. You just sit comfortably and observe it. You say to yourself that they are having a difficult time. You acknowledge that the storm belongs entirely to them. It does not belong to you. You can still hold space, but you hold space by remaining perfectly still in your own energy. You do not hold space by invading theirs. You must let them feel the full, crushing weight of their own actions. You must allow them to finally meet their own shadow. As long as you are buffering their reality, they will never wake up. The second shift is about establishing boundaries that fiercely protect your sovereign energetics. We often misunderstand what a boundary actually is. A boundary is not a thick brick wall built to punish the other person. A boundary is a brilliant circle of light that protects your sacred temple. You must actively cut the tangled threads of quantum entanglement. You must sever the energetic feeding tube. When you feel yourself obsessing over their healing journey, physically pause. When you feel that familiar, gripping anxiety rising in your chest, stop what you are doing. Close your eyes. Visualize the thick, energetic cords connecting your solar plexus to theirs. See yourself gently but firmly unplugging those cords. Call your golden energy back into your own physical body. Say it out loud to the universe. Tell them you release them to their own journey. Tell yourself you call your vital life force back to your own center. If their dysregulated behavior disrupts your peace, you simply remove yourself from the room. You do not explain your departure. You do not argue your point. You do not try to force them to understand your perspective. You simply protect your own nervous system. You must honor your internal peace as highly as you respect their absolute right to remain unawakened. The third shift is the most painful step of all. You must deeply and fully grieve the illusion of their potential. You must stop loving the idealized, future version of who they could magically become. You are in love with a ghost. You are attached to a projection of your own healing capacity. You must look at them exactly as they are today. You must look at them right now, in this very specific moment. Ask yourself a terrifying question. Can you love the stark reality of them without needing them to change a single thing? If the honest answer is no, then you must grieve. You must mourn the beautiful fantasy you built inside your own mind. Hope can be a deadly poison. It becomes toxic when it keeps you chained to a reality that simply does not exist. You must let the fantasy die. Only when the fantasy dies can true, grounded clarity take root in your life. You must accept that they may never become the person you know they are capable of being. They might never reach the spiritual heights you see for them, and that is their tragic, sacred right. You must honor their choice to remain asleep, and you must honor your own choice to finally wake up. You have spent so much time, so much breath, so much of your precious soul trying to breathe life into a statue. It is time to step back. It is time to look at your own beautiful, tired hands. You are an anxious heart, yes, but you are also a magnificent creator. You have a profound capacity for love, for depth, for spiritual sight. Gravity pulls you toward those who need light because you have so much of it to give. But do not waste it on a project. Do not bury your light in the soil of someone else's unhealed trauma. You are a partner, not a rehabilitation center. You are a lover, not a savior. Your only spiritual duty in this lifetime is your own alignment, your own joy, your own sovereign peace. Imagine, just for a moment, the sheer force of nature you would become if you stopped leaking your power. Who could you become if you poured all that healing energy, all that devotion, all that fierce, unrelenting love back into yourself? It is time to find out. Take a deep breath. Release the weight. You are free to let them go. You are free to come home to yourself. If these words resonated with the truth in your bones, I invite you to subscribe and join this community of sovereign souls. We are walking this path together. Until next time, stay anchored in your own light.